to our channel. I am sitting here with Kristen Forgione.
Hello.
I'm sitting here with Rachel McCloskey.
Hi.
We are at the Go Big or Go Home Proj, and we're back for another tell-all. We have a house tour coming up right after this, so make sure you tune into that. But let's get started. Rachel?
Yes.
This is your first house tour. How are you feeling?
How
are you feeling?
I've been working on this house. Yeah. That's where I've been. But I'm feeling good. I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, this is an insane house, obviously. We only do that. And there are just so many elements. I walked in this morning and I just couldn't stop gawking, for lack of a better term. Every angle is just like Instagram worthy.
When you haven't even gotten to walk the whole thing yet.
Oh, I know.
Because
Yeah.
we
It
had to
just
get
keeps
going.
going. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, I know.
And I also want to say, Rach is not new. She's been here for 3.5 years. She's not new. She just is elusive because she's always on these crazy massive projects.
That never ends.
That never ends. So that's why you haven't been on a tell-all.
Yeah.
It's not, you can clearly see we're not having to keep her away from the camera.
She's just a busy
exist.
gal. She's just a busy gal.
Yeah.
All right, so how long did you work on this project? And can you tell us what goes into designing a new build? Because this is massive.
Yeah, so honestly, this was my first build. So just about as long as I've been here, 3.5 years is when we designed this project and kind of kicked it off.
You've been working on this for 3-ish years.
Yeah, a
See?
very long time.
This is just a good reality check for all of you watching at home. Things
Who
don't
think your house is going to be built in 8 months?
Yeah,
And
it
honestly,
doesn't happen.
good reality check for me too, because I'm
Yeah.
trying to get floors in my house and I'm thinking it's going to happen tomorrow. So,
It's not.
3
And
years, that's insane.
So much
Yeah.
of this project, like everyone likes to blame COVID on everything. So much of this project had nothing to do with COVID.
No, nothing to do with
and was
COVID whatsoever.
way before the world turned upside down. So
Okay,
just
all
gives
right.
you a good idea that it's not just COVID's fault. No.
So this is your first new build, but you've also worked on renovations and interior projects. What differs between a new build and those other projects? Like, how does the process different?
The process is quite different. I would think the main word I would use is details. There are so many little details that go into every single build immensely. Everything from a render and exactly how a tile is laid down to a specific material that we're using.
And non-aesthetic things.
Oh,
Like
yes, for
tons
sure. Like
of
there's
mechanical
structural-
stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, we're not
Yeah.
architects, so the architect has a large, it has a lot to do with that. But while you're building, we got pinned so many times into trying to figure out, like, okay, how do we actually want this to work? And now that we're in the
Yes.
field, is this the best
We see a
way to
photo
do that?
and we kind of try to like reverse engineer it, and there's a lot more engineering and yes, architecture and actual mechanics that go into it than just the pretty.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
the not pretty stuff is what took us the
That's-
most,
yeah,
the
that's-
the longest in this
Yep.
project in particular.
And Rachel is our technical queen. So she,
Yes, she
is in SketchUp and CAD and making sure every little thing fits together seamlessly before you even get to the styling. So there's a lot that goes into a project of this, especially of this nature, before we even get to where we are right now.
And with this project in particular too, our clients were super in, well, one, I know you'll get to this, but regular furniture, the regular scale of furniture doesn't really fit them because they're tall.
Yes.
And they want to be comfortable. So Rach was able to custom make and design so much of this
So
furniture.
much of this home,
Which
yeah.
taps into your old life as a furniture designer.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's another reason why it took so long is because
Everything
that kind of
is
furniture
so
takes
custom,
a long time to make.
even just from cabinetry. You know, there's functions from when you're taller than when you're shorter like me. There's things that they just necessarily would never use, like a lower drawer. They want everything higher. So to go through cabinetry to that standpoint, it's not just a box and a door. We dug deep into that for months to make sure it was perfect for them.
Yeah.
So being on the shorter side, is it difficult to design to people that aren't like similar to you? Like, how do you get into that mindset?
You know, I think in the beginning it kind of was, but as we've gone on, now I honestly think about this for all of our future clients.
I do too.
You know, I kind of see them and I'm like, all right, are you over 6 feet? And if so, I have some like things in mind for you. In the beginning, I kind of didn't understand it, but as I've gotten, even just using the home while we've been here installing, I even kind of like things bigger. I think, you know, just dimensions that have been used since
Yeah,
the 60s
standard
and 70s.
doesn't necessarily need to be that way.
It really doesn't necessarily just even for our shorter people anymore, and just bringing that scale up.
And I think too, we really didn't put an emphasis on how tall are they? Let's say they're between, 6'2" and 6'8", and so even just 6 inches taller than, let's say, a normal size tall person, those 6 inches are so problematic for our clients, right? And when we went to so the key here is asking the right questions, right? You need to ask your clients, or if you're the consumer and you're working with the designer, you need to make sure that if they're not asking you the questions, ask them questions, right? So these are my hot buttons. When we went to their current house, we stood in the kitchen with them, and our clients, literally, when he would cook, he could see the top of the hood, the top of the hood, not the bottom of the hood, not the hood hitting him in the head. He could actually see the stainless steel on the top of the hood. So he's cooking like this usually because he can't even, when we saw that, we were like, okay, now we understand the level that, you're talking, like, when he's bending over to wash his hands, he's literally bending from the hips to, like, wash his hands.
It's
it's
annoying.
Okay. You don't really realize how uncomfortable it is for someone that's just a little bit taller than the average tallness, right? So this whole house, from the very beginning all the way down to, like, seat height on furniture is taller than most.
So we've already established the height of our clients. We named it the Go Big or Go Home Proj for obvious reasons. So aside from just our clients themselves, what was the inspiration behind this project?
Honestly, I think the inspiration really honestly started from their height and function. Function was the biggest thing, of making sure that it's 100% functional for them on a daily basis, and that we're able to make everything custom to fit that function for them.
And I've worked, so even before Rach, I started working with these clients, I'd say 6 years ago, I think probably.
A long time.
And so we were trying to renovate their current home and making it a little bit more functional for them. And after doing that-ish, they just decided, you know what, we're ready to build from the ground up, and we want to do this. And by then I was already so familiar with their aesthetic. The making sure that we nailed it aesthetically was so easy with them.
Okay, so obviously our trademarked aesthetic is organic desert living. Is there a specific iteration of organic desert living that this project is?
Yeah, cool toned.
Yeah, very cool.
Into furniture.
Yes, and then we warmed it up a lot on the furniture end. Very clean, simple, light color tones, lots of whites, textures. And then we've kind of added like little vintage and like rustic elements to kind of balance all that out on the interiors and the styling side.
And I also think in a timeline this long, we talk about this sometimes, what we started putting on paper 3.5 years ago, aesthetically, is very different even than what you see now in high-end luxury design, right? So you have to make sure that what you're selecting on the hardscape is going to translate and really lay a foundation for you, so that when you start designing and selecting furniture, whether you're doing it with a design team or yourself, that you're not pigeonholed into a 3.5 years ago look. Truly, it's what we see so often in design when people aren't working with professionals.
So is there anything that you had to change from 3.5 years ago to now? Or
We've changed some lighting fixtures.
Couple lighting fixtures, but mainly from the hardscape standpoint, we really kept it. They definitely wanted a classic, timeless look. Obviously, this is a fully custom home to them, but also from a function standpoint of their height. So like, they want to be in here for a very long time, so we wanted to make sure that the materials that we did choose were timeless in that aspect as well.
So I have a couple of favorites already. Already.
She hasn't even seen the whole house
I
yet.
know.
I did a little walkthrough before you guys got here. But I want to hear what your favorite spaces in this house are.
Are there parameters around favorites, or just like
No.
straight up favorite child?
Straight up favorite child.
You go first.
That's a hard one. I guess if I can narrow them out, bathroom-wise will be the pool bath.
Yes.
I
It is
haven't
far but never forgotten. Sometimes we
Yes.
forget it exists
I have
outside.
not seen that one.
But the pool bath, I think from a hardscape bathroom standpoint, is my
Super.
favorite space.
Super legit out there. Yeah.
And then from a furniture interior end, I think you'll see it here on the tour that's right in front of us right now, is this pano door that meets at a corner with a chaise. It's comfortable and it gives you that indoor-outdoor living that I'm super obsessed with, that I think is a showstopper as soon as you walk inside the door.
For me, I would say probably the primary bedroom. Rach designed this killer love seat with matching ottoman, extended, same upholstery, so good, cannot be bought. Like,
It's a
just
brainchild one day.
when she brought it to me from a design standpoint, I was like, mind blown. Oh my God, that's amazing. At the end of the bed. So it was so beautiful, and it turned out absolutely stunning. It just looks so comfortable and casual, but elevated. So I'd say probably primary bedroom, and then hardscape. God, that's so hard.
There's a lot.
Probably the dirty kitchen. The dirty kitchen like stole my heart in this. I don't even think I knew what a dirty kitchen was 3.5 years ago when we started it.
Yeah.
And that thing is layered, and it's my dream, and I don't have one in my new house, and I never will.
It's pretty incredible.
But it's
All
really,
of us can hope one day.
oh my
Yeah.
God, the refrigerator in there is an absolute next level. It's this Sub-Zero glass door, equivalent to a Honda Civic amazingness. And it's just
multiple cars
Yeah, it
in
just
this
makes me
house,
so
yeah.
happy. Like, I just love it.
Well, I was walking around and there were quite a few different little fridges, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a fridge for my coffee. I have a fridge for my wine. I have a fridge for my LaCroix. There's like,
Yeah, there's
it's
every appliance I've
everything
ever
you need.
existed.
Yeah.
It's everything you
All
need.
from Sub-Zero. They were amazing to work with, and they allowed us to come to the showroom several times and test drive and eat and train our clients on how to use their product. And it was just an awesome, really, really awesome partnership for this project, because our clients also value that level of cooking and refrigeration. So, are we and we're back type of thing, or we just keep going? Nikki?
Okay, so let's get to some more nitty-gritty questions. What were some, if any, challenges that you faced when designing this project?
Skip.
Just
kidding. No,
Got
I'm
it.
kidding. No, I'm
Throw that
kidding.
one.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
No, you know, in a 3.5 year project, of course there's going to be challenges. I mean, in any build,
There's
yeah,
always
in any
challenges.
build, any
This doesn't
renovation.
fit. We thought it would, and
Yeah,
there's always a solution though. And
Yeah, challenges happen. This one, I kind of feel like every major milestone had a huge challenge.
Yes.
And things like,
What are you trying to think
I
of,
know
like, specifically?
materials were a little bit of a challenge in some ways. So then COVID hits,
Yeah.
and like we're already pretty far, but then COVID hits. And so then even the things that we thought were on the way and were gonna come and, you know, we're gonna work out, ended up having to be restructured. Furniture was a complete nightmare. Like, we're still waiting on
still
furniture
waiting on
that we
furniture we
ordered
ordered
in October of last year.
Yeah, wow.
And that's like sob story, you know, everyone knows that. But there were challenges for sure. And in a project this big, the more you can prepare yourself, your team, your clients for the challenges, the less serious, if you will, they will be.
Yes.
Yeah,
Totally. Well, and our clients are so gracious, and they have been
They've
a
really been
dream
amazing
throughout the
through
whole
this.
process.
Figuring out this 18-foot fireplace surround under an overmantel was very challenging. It's made out of porcelain, which is a great buzz material.
Yeah, and I also think when we first spec porcelain, that was like
brand new.
brand new. So it was even a learning curve for us of
Yeah.
how it's fabricated, how you miter the corners. So that was a challenge in the beginning to
And
make sure that it
getting-
turned out perfect.
Right, getting any slab 18 feet in the air
Yeah.
is no small feat.
I wish I could have been here to see them raise this beautiful slab.
Yeah. So that was really cool. And the builder, of course, we work in conjunction with the general contractor. The builder on this is AFT Construction. So we worked with them through all of the challenges and, you know, trying to figure out between all of our expertise which way to go and how do we not end up, you know, costing our clients thousands and thousands of dollars. And so I honestly, the thing that sticks out to me the most is the overmantel and that porcelain.
What was the hardest item to source? And this might be twofold since there was a lot of custom furniture. So how
Well,
did
all the
we-
furniture, every single piece.
It was
Sucked.
Yeah.
But that's the business we're in, so we
Didn't
just say,
exist.
thank you, may I have another?
We waited. It was so worth the wait,
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
Everything is so beautiful once you guys see the rest of this on the house tour. But from a hardscape material, one of the hardest ones that we needed to decide on and source was this wood grain tile that we put outside. Our clients really wanted this indoor-outdoor living.
And they fought for it.
And
I'm
they fought
so
for
glad
it, and
they
I'm
did.
so happy that they
I
did.
am.
We live in
'Cause
Arizona.
we tried to talk them
yeah.
out of it. We were like, you don't need that.
The dust, and
We
you always
don't-
have the doors
yeah.
shut, but when these pano doors are open, it is so beautiful, it's so amazing. So our challenge with this was we wanted to make the flooring look continuous and that it just looked like it bled right into the outside.
And that was John's thing. That was our client who was really pushing us to that.
He was amazing.
He's a
I'm so
visionary.
happy.
John, you're a
he's
design
a vision.
visionary.
And
Love
he
you.
invented the dirty kitchen as well.
He
So
did.
maybe we need to hire him too.
I know.
We'll hire the whole family. But wood grain tile is a hard material, and hard materials are obviously always cooler, and we're trying to match with an engineered hardwood spec on the inside of the home, which is warmer. So we went through so many tile specs, like side by side in different lights, and we wanted to make sure that they fit with each other perfectly. And
what the engineered looks like inside versus what this wood grain tile looks like outside. It's like even if we put them right next to each other in our office and they looked perfect, when we got them here on site, it looked totally different because one is inside and one is outside.
And there's an overhang also.
Yeah,
and
shading.
Yep. But it turned out perfect, and I'm so
And
happy
we
we
got
took
it
the time and we got it perfect. We really did.
So my next question was going to be asking if you used any hardscapes that were out of the ordinary for us to use, but it sounds like wood grain tile is that hardscape.
Never ever see us do wood grain tile again, ever.
We didn't have a single piece in our
Nope.
office.
If somebody asked for it, we're like, nope, hands down. That's like our one restriction. We will not.
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, wood grain tile is yes. So actually, I would love to tell you all why we don't use wood grain tile. Number one, it looks like wood but performs like tile. No, it doesn't. Nothing looks like wood because it's not wood. Number two, you'll see all this marketing material from providers and suppliers with wood grain tile, and it's laid just like wood. But there's not a single tile installer that we've ever found or worked with that will actually lay tile without grout joints. Even if the tile is rectified, it has to have grout joints so that it can move a little bit. And so when you lay it right next to each other, like there isn't anyone who will actually install and warranty that. So I kind of feel like it's a little smoke and mirrors from the way products are marketed versus how they actually need to be installed. There's nothing like wood. And now, engineered wood, you can have wood, believe me. Engineered hardwood will perform.
Commercial grade,
it will.
waterproof, there's a lot.
It'll perform for you. It will. You just have to be asking your team, or if you're a consumer making choices, make sure you do as much homework as you can in figuring out how this particular product is going to perform for you in your home based on your needs. If you don't have dogs and you're not planning on getting any, you probably don't need to worry that much about scratching. If you have 5 kids and 3 dogs, it's going to be a very different product that should be able to perform right with your life.
Okay.
So,
Good to know. See, you learn something new every tell-all. That's why you need to watch. Okay, so continuing on our conversation with tile, and we know that everyone knows that we love tile, right? And there are quite a few areas in this project where we use different tile specs, and they're so unique and they're so beautiful, but can you please tell me what your favorite is?
My favorite, hands down, is the pool bath. We designed a custom detailed wainscoting made out of white mosaic, but
Right, so
instead of
before we go further, what exactly does that mean for the people watching at home?
So a mosaic tile is usually a 12 by 12, 12 inches by 12 inches sheet, and it usually is tile about less than 2 inches.
Yeah, a bunch
about.
of little stuff.
So it's what keeps it together, and it has like a meshing on the back of it, and it just kind of sticks on the wall, sticks on the ground. It's just a way that you don't have to individually lay. all of
Unless
those
Rachel
tiles.
designs it and then she makes you take all of them off the mesh and put them on the wall.
Yeah, the specking of the mosaic sheet really didn't do
No,
what it was
we
supposed
just
to this
needed the
past
tile,
time.
yeah.
We just needed the little tiles, as you will see in the home tour of how we designed and installed this. The tile trade probably hates us, but it's beautiful. We have some thicker outlines in there, and
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like, that space is amazing. But I honestly think that we have probably 40 different specs.
yeah,
I would say at least probably 40
So-
different tiles in here.
With all of those different choices, how do you make sure that they all look cohesive and they all work together? Because I think sometimes people think like, I can only have 1 or 2 different types of specs, right? So how do you
I mean,
make all
I'm
those work
not
together?
going to sit here and tell you that it's easy. We're professionals, right? But I do think that there are some easier ways to make sure that your tile choices are cohesive. But you need to be looking at your tile in a way that's different than I love this, or I like this, or this is all the same color. We're looking for size. We're looking for size relative to other sizes in the space. So that's a big one. We're not trying to overdo the same shape. So if everything is subway shaped, meaning rectangle or going this way, we typically wouldn't select a floor that would be that same size.
Okay.
So you're trying to create a hierarchy with tile so that each tile can have its moment, but at the same time, every tile can't be a moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
We usually try to have our clients have a couple of their moments that they really want. For instance, marble. They want marble. We're not going to put that throughout the whole home, but we can pick one bathroom and kind of niche it in so that that bathroom has its individually moment, and then you don't have it all over the house so that if you get sick of it in a few years, it's just in one contained space. You could shut the door.
And especially tiles that aren't timeless, you're seeing a lot of cement tile and printed tile and tile that has an identity just before it's even installed. It's got an identity. And at some point that's gonna go out. We're not sure when. It's actually kind of been around for longer than I thought it would be. So you have to use that sparingly. You know, you cannot put that all over everything. Don't do it in large quantities. You're gonna get sick of it, I promise. And so I think as you start using more timeless materials, they all go together because they've been going together since forever, you know? So a lot of your natural stones, we do a lot of honed or tumbled, so not a ton of polished, just because then that little bit of shine adds kind of a different layer on there, where we tend to stick to a lot more laid back luxe earth, versus like that super polished, shiny kind of look. But yeah, you're looking for similarities and hierarchy so that you're not overdoing it, and everything can't be a moment. So pick a moment in tile and let everything else complement that, not compete with it.
So do you think that moments need to be in like primary spaces, or could it be like? Please don't waste your powder bath with freaking white walls, okay?
Like a powder bath, it's small, it's contained. And also a lot of the times these moment tiles are expensive. So
Small numbers.
yes, if we can try to have a smaller space, that also helps when it comes to a budget standpoint.
And if you're gonna have white walls that stay in a powder bath, treat them with something. This powder bath has an oversized shiplap that's on all the walls. But
So
yeah,
just to like add that texture of extra layer.
use those those spaces that have small square footage. Use those areas to take some risks, because let's say you take a risk and you lose your way, you can change it without having to spend another $10,000 on countertops that you took a risk on.
Don't do that.
We don't want to do that. Yeah, we don't even do that, and we know what we're doing, but we're still like, I'm not so sure about that.
Okay. So what is your favorite
Oh,
tile spec or hardscape
my favorite
moment?
tile or hardscape in here. The primary bathroom floor. It's this tumbled limestone with like abstract edging.
It's an all-time favorite of ours. We love it.
It literally feels like baby skin. It's so soft, and so your feet on it when you're in your primary bathroom, right? Like wet feet, and it is so tranquil and just balanced. I'm really thinking about using it at my own house.
Wait, so let's talk about the primary bath for a second, because it is just like the space planning of it is very unique, but it is so cool.
The floor plan for the primary bath came from the architect, and it was beautifully designed. The shower has a center footprint with 2 doors so that you can enter or exit on both sides. We really took the cabinetry to a pretty different place and played with an L shape. So his and hers vanities with an L shape, and then also a makeup vanity.
Yeah, that is what I was like, oh.
And it's got all this tower like so much storage.
And the cabinet design was a push for us, and it was something that we pushed the clients towards, and it was honestly just a brainchild that we kind of just came up with, and we had no idea how it was going to look when it was installed or how timeless it would be, but once it was put in, we were so happy that we did, and we pushed our clients towards it because it is beautiful.
All the cabinetry in here is made by Riso Peters. They're a local handmade cabinet company that we work with all the time. And they were really, really great partners in this, in that they were able to help us in figuring out how best we should segment the home and making sure we knew finish-wise what we wanted, of course. We want the cabinets to be white oak and some sort of white frame. But they just did an awesome job, and really
All those technical things, again, that takes a while, and those details that go into a build, we can look at it to a certain standpoint and know what it will look like, but all the function with inside, they did a really good job at helping us with that.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've already mentioned a few times that a lot of the furniture in here is custom. Is this massive, incredible coffee table right in front of us, is this also a custom piece?
Yes, yep.
Talk to me about this, because this is something that I've never seen before, and I mean, not that I'm super expert, but I have never seen it.
Yeah.
And it is stunning.
So this coffee table honestly kind of came, you need a coffee table in your living room, your living space.
The house is huge.
And the house is huge. So me and Kristen actually came here one day while it was still, the floors weren't even laid, concrete floors, and we took our measuring tape to kind of get a general sense of what would feel good and what would feel commanding between a sectional, accent chairs. And once we got to the middle space for a coffee table, we usually like to use a 60-inch.
Yeah.
And we like kept pulling the tape measure like further
We're
and further. And we're like,
72 is definitely gonna
we're like
fit.
72, that's massive,
like,
that's a
oh my
dining
God.
table. And then we're like,
It's not a
no, we need 80. So this is an 80-inch diameter white oak, beautiful, beyond words coffee table.
Rach designed every square inch of it. I threatened
So
her
worth the
within
wait.
an inch of her life. I was like,
it's not
did you
fit."
measure? How many times did you measure? She's like, I measured 5 times. I'm like, go back a 6th time, because we are actually not going to have a place to put an 80-inch coffee table if that thing doesn't fit. Like if it's too big. And when we saw it come in, I was like, there is
like sell it for
no way that, we'd have to part it out.
We literally, like, cut it off and
Like
sell
we're
it
like,
to people.
there's no way that's gonna fit in there. And same thing with this section, like all of the numbers were just so big, the rug.
We second guessed
We kept
ourselves
going
a
back
ton.
on
We're
it,
like,
yeah.
are those numbers correct? And we're like, they really were.
Have you had a project before where the furniture is this?
Where every single piece needs to be truly custom? No. And I've always been, as a principal, listen, there's literally 1 million sofas on the market between wholesale and retail. Come on,
not need
there's
custom.
gotta be a
We
sofa
need
that
custom.
can work for this. So we like to spend our time finished designing, right? We like to spend our time designing whole rooms. And yes, designing custom furniture is great and fun, but it's not typically a majority of the project. It's just not something that we love. It also takes forever. Everything takes forever now, so that's kind of a moot point. But in this case, when Rach and I were scaling things, she'd come back and we'd be trying to use as much stock furniture as we can, because it's obviously more cost effective typically for clients, and it just didn't work. It really didn't work. And because these clients are really prepared and into this, and they wanted to have the proper scaled furniture for the spaces, it was such a blast. And the furniture just turned out amazing. And
And it fits.
And it fits. Oh, I remember on install day,
Oh, we were sweating.
got that little heart attack going the night before. We never sleep because we
Yeah.
always worry. But once things started coming, it was,
And she knew I was gunning for her. It didn't fit.
I was like, just kidding.
We had to figure it out.
Yeah.
So do you have like a specific furniture manufacturer that you usually work with? Is that like trade secret?
Yeah,
You
we
got a
have
guy?
we got a guy. We
Yeah,
have several
we've got a guy,
workrooms
yeah.
that we work with, and honestly, saying the name of a custom workroom won't do anything for a consumer because they don't work outside the trade, and we all use the same people. So everyone in the industry knows, regionally who you use. But we do have a couple underground people that we use often that go by the name of Caesar.
Yeah.
And we'll never tell you anything else.
Amazing Caesar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caesar is our king. He's
really
just
is.
amazing. And that's the thing, if you're a designer out there and you're trying to establish your trades, hang on to those people that can go with you, and they are excited to do new things. The first thing we ever ask a new trade is, do you want to do cool shit, right? Like, do you want to do stuff that no one's doing and that you haven't done before? And if they're like, I don't know.
They have to take a risk as well,
They do have to take a risk,
if
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
starting to build it and maybe it wasn't what it needed to
And
be,
they have to feel comfortable telling us
Yeah,
that before it's done. Like, don't deliver me something that you're like, oh yeah, I knew this wasn't going to work. We're like,
Why didn't you
why
just
didn't you
say
tell me that? Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have loved if you would have told us that. Yeah.
So, what space in this beautiful, incredible house? Which, by the way, how big is it?
About 10,000
about 10,000 under roof.
Okay.
Because there is an upstairs that we'll
Yeah.
get to at some point.
It's big.
So, out of all of the glorious 10,000 square feet in this house, what space do you think will be a fan favorite? Because we have our favorites, but what space do you think the
That's a
people
good
will love?
question.
I feel like I know from a consumer standpoint what the favorite's going to be. It's definitely going to be different than
What do you think it's gonna
mine
be?
is. I think 2 spaces. I think the home office. It's one. It's just hands down beautiful,
trend
but
right now.
and it's so on trend with what's going on in the world. And the pano inside outdoor living between the great room and the patio. But my personal favorite is, we call it the casita, even though it's not a casita. It's still, it's not around back, it's not detached, but it's approachable. It is just big enough that it can be the size of a normal living room, but everything just fits so perfectly in there. And it's a little like humbling when you walk in and it's
Yeah.
warm and, you know, you have this grandeur of as soon as you walk in the front door and the rest of this home. And in there, it's quaint and you feel like you can sit there and hang out and watch TV with your family. And I just love spaces like that just feel like you're at home. It really does.
We always end up liking, at least Reach and I for sure, we always tend to gravitate toward those more intimate spaces. Like, of course, we love designing stuff like this.
yeah.
The notoriety
It's
that this
beautiful.
brings
Beyond.
alone is a designer's dream. But I think the comfort of it, but honestly, as big as this house is, that's our job, is to make it feel comfortable, right? And so I think for me, I definitely think the great room will be a fan favorite for sure. I think the dirty kitchen pantry situation
Everybody's
will definitely be a fan favorite. That pantry is like, I mean, whether you're a cook, an at-home cook, a chef, a mom, a dad, a whoever, a baker. We have another client who bakes. Oh my gosh, she would lose it for that pantry. But so I think that'll be a fan favorite too, and probably the primary bath, just because it's like perfect for just about anyone. Right? And so I think that'll be highly relatable too. You got to be able to hear all that.
That might be, yeah. I mean, the beep sound like
Who is that? Is that Jake?
So with a project of this scale and of the length of it, the timeline, how do you think Rachel's changed as a designer in the last 3.5 years?
Ooh, such a good question. Rach, oh my gosh. Rach, you have become so confident, which is hard to teach, number one. Like, right, like I can command a room, I'm confident. I just, even if I'm not confident, I will come off like I am. It's just kind of who I am. And I think that's something that didn't come as naturally to you when you first started. And when you work on a project like this, when a client believes in you and when your boss believes in you and the trades believe in you, and like, this is her baby. And our clients know that. And so they have the bond that you have with our clients and their family, and that we have created together here. I truly think it's confidence. And now when I ask you a question, she has specific answers that are data driven, that we can make better decisions with. Where in the beginning, I think, you know, you really don't know. It's a new build. It's dirt. When we got it, it was dirt, you know, and so you're trying to figure things out as you go. And between this project, we've built like 7 other houses. And so though, you know, just by default, it's no one's fault. It's just the way it happened. And so we've really gotten to learn so much. And I honestly think that for these clients, it has proven to be very beneficial for them because we had enough time between everything that it just ended up so beautiful. And Rach has grown so much, and I love you so much.
And Rachel,
Yes.
what is something that you've learned that you could translate into a piece of advice for other designers watching? I mean, I feel like this is not every day that a designer comes across a project that is of
This caliber.
this caliber, yeah.
Measure twice, but measure 12 times.
Yeah.
You know, they always say, you know, measure
twice, order once, or
order
whatever.
once, but I measured multiple times. And that's, again, just checking your work and digging deeper. And I think digging deeper goes, you know, way more than just ordering for furniture. It goes into, like we had touched on earlier, you don't just look at a cabinet and think how beautiful it is. You really need to look at the function and think, if I'm living here, what would this do for me? And just thinking like 1,000 miles way past it to get to the end point. Yeah. And I think obviously working at the lifestyle company has given me that confidence and that knowledge, but this build alone has definitely taught me that and some, for sure.
I would, you know, like, hey, where are you headed today? Well, I'm going to go big or go home. I gotta measure. I'm like, haven't you already measured like 10 times? She's like, yeah, but I didn't sleep last night, and I'm really thinking about that, whatever, and I just need to go there, and I want to make sure. And I think if you are learning how to lead a team and you're sitting in more of a principal role and you have leads or other designers working with you, like, you got to let them do that. Each person needs to be able to work things out internally. And as a principal designer, where I'm not the one moving the mouse anymore and necessarily speccing furniture, I'm looking at things a little bit later on and a little bit higher level. You know, if I would have said, no, Rach, come to the office, like, we have other stuff to do, that would have not have been good. That would have created internal turmoil for her. She would have not have been as confident. And then, you know, I think inevitably shit happens. And this project was not flawless by any means. And it's a learning opportunity. I think from a furniture standpoint, we didn't have anything that ended up not fitting or not working out. And that's a huge testament to the amount of detail that Rachel spent. So just think, the bigger the project, the more hours for a reason, and you need to actually spend those hours. Like, you can't treat a project like this the same way you treat a 3,000 square foot house. You just can't. It's a totally different beast. And if you're hiring a designer out there, you should be asking them how their projects are different, right? And how they differentiate them in their workload, because the size just automatically requires a lot more time.
A lot more. And I think another thing of advice is there's always a solution.
Totally.
You know, I think a lot of the times with this, you know, builders, trades, even ourselves, you know, you just are giving the problem, or you're just saying what's wrong without giving a solution. Yeah, and there's always a solution. Something can always be done. It can always, and it always
More
does.
brains.
Yeah, we always like to say the design gods are always in our favor.
Totally.
And sometimes if something went wrong that we originally designed and we had to switch, and then it ends up being that much better
Way
than
better,
what
yeah.
we originally designed. So it's organic, and you just kind of have to go with the flow and have that endpoint in mind and say, yeah.
And with the availability of items now, everything that's
Yeah.
not available is the design gods telling us that we
wasn't
should be
meant to
using
be.
something else.
We're
Because you will have a lot of cuss words if you don't just
Yeah,
decide
that too.
that
I think
it's-
COVID has taught us patience.
Yeah.
And good things come with weight as well. Yeah, obviously we wait so much longer now, but
yeah, it's not my favorite thing, but
we're getting over it.
yeah, we're trying.
Secretly.
All right, there you have it. We are wrapping up at the Go Big or Go Home Proj. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you like, subscribe,
Talk to us.
talk to us in the comments. We always respond back. And
We'll see you
thank
guys next
so much
time.
for being here. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Bye.
Give me that